is the boxing committee, and again, they've worked hard. They've met every month or so to discuss it. I've been on the calls, and that committee consists of Matt Venezuela from Arizona, he's the chair. Greg Sir from Pennsylvania. Big Greg from the great state of Texas. I think that's it. And I'm sorry, Stephen Weisfeld as well. Stephen is actually one of the premier judges and an attorney, so he jumped aboard with us. So Steve, come on up here, please.
It's a privilege and honor to be here.
Let's go, guys. Sit down. Let's go.
And I just wanted to say, I'm not sure why we followed the MMA with all the people that were up there. It's a tough act to follow, but we do have a big guy as well. We have Greg Alvarez from Texas. We have Greg Sir from Pennsylvania, who also assisted. We have Steve Weisfeld. We actually have a lawyer, and they didn't. So I just wanted to point that out. So thanks, Stephen, for participating. Mike Mazzulli also participated as well, and myself. So again, I just wanted to stress the fact that I would be sitting back there unless Mike Mazzulli came to me and told me, Matthew, I need you to be a part of this committee. And so I just encourage all of you that don't let somebody appoint you, be the one to appoint yourself. Why? Because we have work to do. And so, again, I want to give the MMA people a round of applause because they have a mass majority of rules to go over. And so with me, ours were fairly simple, so we should not take that long. But again, thank you, Bob Bennett, for opening up Nevada and Monte Carlo for us allowing us to be here. So, with that being said, I'd like to turn it over to Greg. Greg Sir. He's going to go over our boxing rules. What I've put up here is I've highlighted the things that we've updated. Our last update was done July 29, 2014, which was 2 years ago, and then the committee had voted on that. So with that being said, no further ado, I'm going to give it over to Greg Sir. He's going to go over what we changed. Obviously, we don't have the slide up here to show you, but he's going to go over that.
Right in the beginning, we're just going from uniform rules to unified rules. A lot of this is going to just be technical in nature. Each round shall consist of, just how to remove B, so it's 3 rounds. Number 2, the referee is sole arbiter of the bout. Only individual can authorize to stop the bout. We're just going to keep that. That rule stays as it is. That's an old standing rule. The referee is the sole arbiter of the bout. If he wants to consult with a doctor, if he wants to consult with a commission member, that's up to him. But he's the sole arbiter of the bout. The number 9 that we go down to, a boxer shall receive 20-second count if the boxer is not out of the ring, period. He doesn't have to go to the floor. He can be on the apron, and that's not off the ring. The apron is considered part of the ring. If he's not off the ring, it's a 20-second count. He does not have to be on the floor. He may be on a table. He could be in maybe somebody's lap. Technically, he doesn't have to be on the floor. That's just housekeeping. Go to number 2. This is where it gets a little, we probably should have. We know for accidental fouls in a championship fight, you have to have 4 completed rounds. We've all agreed on that. That's been a great rule for many years. After you have 4 completed rounds, then you go to the scorecard. So just to be consistent, even if there's an intentional foul, and I'm the boxer that has been fouled intentionally, I got a headbutt and it's just a small cut. But it was an intentional headbutt. In most cases, the referee should probably deduct a point for the intentional foul. That should be automatic. But you as the fighter, if you say, I'm going to continue, it doesn't look that bad, I want to continue. And it's not. The doctor says it's okay to go. But then you kind of have waived your rights to get this disqualification now. You're saying you're going to continue to win the bout. So again, we're going to add, even if it's an intentional foul, you then have to go to at least 4 rounds. Now, an intentional foul, I'm the guy that's fouled. I cannot lose. We'll go to the scorecards. If I'm ahead, I win. If I'm behind, then we have the technical draw. So I still can't lose. But we didn't want to go, okay, I got cut in the first round, and then the second round, because it got a little tough for this kid, say, oh, I can't continue. This is too much for me. And what to win by disqualification. If you make the call that you want to continue, then you have waived your right to a disqualification. You cannot lose the bout because it was an intentional foul, but you waived your right. I think it's a good rule, but I'll leave that one up for discussion. It didn't state anything about the rounds. So we could basically have, 1 round in the books, and the kid says, well, I want to go to the scorecards. Or 2 rounds in the books, well, that's an intentional foul. I want to go to the scorecards. I'm not too sure. That, to me, that could get a little messy at best. We just adopted the 4 rounds and 4 rounds. If it's an intentional foul, and the referee declares it's an intentional foul, he can take a point away, which he probably should. But if the boxer says he can continue, the doctor checks him, he's good to go, because it's not, it's not something bad, it's not in his eyes. Then we're going to go to the same 4 rounds that we went for an accidental foul. The only difference being, me as the player, I cannot lose if it later becomes worsened from legal blows. The one thing I will mark, we've had 2 fights this year. And the fight, an accidental foul, in this case it was the right eye. And the cut was pretty good, but he wanted to continue. Later the fight stopped, but the cut was on the left eye. And the commission lost their bearing a little bit and said, oh, that's the, that was a cut, and that was the eye, and they went to the cards. So what I was telling everybody, as soon as that ref tells you it's an accidental foul, cut left eye, you should mark that on your master score sheet. Round 3, accidental foul, cut to his left eye. Because you know that later, if that's the eye that the doctor says, yeah, we're going to stop it because of that left eye, then you know you're going to the scorecard. But if the doctor comes up to me and says, I didn't stop it because of that, his right eye's a mess from legal punches, well then son, you just got TKO. It's a little system, but it's very important to write it down exactly where the accidental, or in this case, intentional foul occurs. Any questions on that? I don't want to belabor that point. It just makes, to me, it makes it a little bit more consistent in what we're doing.
So it really doesn't change. So if later on in the fight, say the 6th or 7th or 8th round, it goes back to that eye gets worse, he still has the option of them going to the scorecards.
He'll go to the scorecards, and he can't lose. He cannot lose.
Technical draw, or he wins.
Or he wins, correct.
Greg, the way you described it is perfectly appropriate in Washington. But I've recently been involved, as you know, in some situations where some liberal-minded referees that didn't understand the purpose of the rules perhaps made errors as a result. So may I suggest that the wording to be a little bit more specific, that you say, if there's no disqualification, because some referee is going to read that, or somebody who's not here, and say, well, this applies whether they don't disqualify, you do this.
Well, how would it be an accidental foul?
If there's no disqualification due to the accidental foul, that continues, and et cetera, et cetera. That's right. You're not going to vote down on this.
Yeah, but
You follow what I'm saying?
I do. And you're going to put that, we're at that with the If an intentional foul causes an injury, and the injury results in a boxing stop, what do you want to put the words of that?
No. You have to make it clear that there's no disqualification. So,
Stop. The end round after the 4 round, and there's no disqualification. That was good? Yeah. Okay. That would just clarify, I think, a little bit.
yes, it's unbelievable to me. That's why nobody's outside.
Correct. Yeah, when we print it, so everybody can take a look at it.
Yeah, I'm gonna make this into my attorney.
Okay.
When you come back, you know, this is a big deal for us.
Oh, it is.
And this is not, I mean, California rules policy are different. We don't use this in playoffs. This is weird.
We went with the 5 minutes, and the only other one that we wanted was, that was the last change, but the number 13, you know, always try to remember, the fighter gets up to 5 minutes. The ref, again, the sole arbiter of the bout, you know, he can say after 2 or 3 minutes, okay, you know, we want to continue. You know, he gets up to 5 minutes. We've had 3 or 4, maybe more, of shows that have come into my office. They'll send me a tape, and, you know, the referees, you know, it's going on now 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes, and the fight's starting to drag out to where it's starting to get uncomfortable for the crowd. As a ref, or even as a commissioner, I mean, I normally say after about a minute or two, you know, if he's going to drag it out, get the doctor up there. Is he hurt or not? Is he hurt or not? And I'll also tell the fighter, you know, you can't win. I mean, we make sure we tell the fighter that. You cannot win on an accidental low blow. You can't win. You got to continue. I make it a point when my referees, if it starts to drag out, you tell the fighter in plain, you cannot win this fight. You've been hit with an accidental low blow. You must continue after 5 minutes. But it's up to 5 minutes. It does not have to be the whole fight. The only other question that came in was, if you're using replay, how many states and commissions are using replay? I know I am, Nevada. You can go to a replay to make it. I know Jersey is. The only what came out of 2 fights in a row this week. The fight stopped because of a legal blow. That was the ruling, or an accidental blow. That was the ruling. He ruled it low. Referee stopped the fight. He gave to get a win by TKO. The state went to their video replay. It was right on the belt. The punch was right on the belt. Happened in the 6th round, right on the belt. As a judge, if you throw your scorecards away because it was a TKO, you had nothing to go, this state had nothing to go back on to add the scores. If they had all the scores come in from the judges, still score the fight. If the bout ends on a TKO, no matter what, have your judges score the bout and send it in. Just in case you want to go to that replay, you can go and say, here's the score. Now we can go to the scorecards and we can still have a winner. Have that round scored no matter what, just to be on the safe side. Any questions for the unified rule? Mr. Mason.
Is there a provision, you know, I'm lucky in the sense that we only do about 3 to 12 round fights a year. And you're talking about this technical decision after 4 rounds. We have a lot of 4 rounds, and the fight is basically over in that situation. Is there something that would say if you go to the scorecard after 3 completed rounds?
I know in Pennsylvania we amended, if it's a 4-round fight, we go with 3. Because if you go with 2, you might get a draw. 3 at least, you might have a winner. I mean, so that's what we do. If you're having a 4-round fight, I mean, these are only championship rules. But unified. But if you want to go, I think if you were going with a 4-round fight, 3 have to be complete. Because I think that gives at least the judges an opportunity to see who actually won the fight after 3 rounds. Any other questions? And just a bit of freaking history. I was president when we did this. unified, and it was in Jersey. And we did, the meeting was in Jersey. the best story, it was me, Larry, all the organizations there, but the best story was, it really dragged on. This meeting was brutal. You can imagine, this was brutal. And there was a knock on the door and saying, we're supposed to be out here because they were having a fight. They were having a fight in Jersey that night, and we were going to use the unified rules. Texas was the first thing. They used it like the night before. Jersey had a big fight that Saturday. They were going to use it then. And there was a knock on the door, and you got to get out of the room. This is going on. We've been banging these rules out for like 6 hours. And I was pressing, and I said, well, we got to get this done. We got to get this done. And the person that was renting the room was Donald Trump himself. And we left rather quickly right after that.
Was Larry having the argument with Jose Suleiman? No, I don't mind. As that was happening, Larry Hazard and Jose Suleiman were in a very heated debate. And Larry kept trying to cut off Jose. Not because he was trying to be rude to Jose, but because of the situation with Regs. And Jose was getting angrier and angrier. And Larry has been known to get angry himself. Every so often. It was a quite place.
It was a historic moment when we did this. It really was. It's one of the biggest accomplishments. Not only the ABC had, but a group of guys that got in the room, closed the door, and said, "Hey, we got to get this done. We just got to get it done. We got it done." We'll have these all picked up for you, ready to go. Have them first thing in the morning. Thank you.
Just a quick one.